Hi there, Dill.
Hey Matt.
We are trying something new. This is our live show. That's
Yep.
not live. The
It's
not live
it's a
show.
live trial.
Oh
We've
no,
we've got to pretend.
not to ruin the illusion already, but I already looked at you in person.
I know. I'd literally. You can see me looking really furtively, like to the left, like I'm doing something wrong. But I'm just trying to resist making eye contact. We're in the same room. We're trying to pretend we're not. We're like the opposite of most people in the world right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're quarantined together, getting through this, and we thought we'd kind of try some new stuff with the podcast. We always have a load of kind of new ideas for little games and features and stuff like that. So we thought we'd kind of consolidate them all with the stuff we've been doing recently and
Yeah.
give a live version a go.
So I'm very much looking forward to this. God damn it! I looked at you.
I know I'm doing pretty well, but I still think I'm trying not to look at myself too much because then it just looks weird. Because I'm like looking.
Yeah, because
to
then
the
you're kind of
left.
looking down.
Yeah, I know. It's not great. I'm just gonna stare into
It's
the
the most meta
light.
podcast slash live stream slash not live stream ever.
Yeah, it's actually like it's one of those things that you think about acting and you're like, I bet it's the weird little things that must be so hard. Like imagine being Gollum right now trying to act against a tennis ball. I still can't work out whether I'm doing eye contact right.
I still reckon it's easier with the golf thing, like with the golf ball, the tennis ball, or whatever, because, like, I don't know, you got something to focus on. Whereas, like, I
Entirely
don't know,
imaginary.
unless the person, the person who has the stick, do they say the line?
I don't think so. No,
Because usually they wouldn't be saying anything anyway.
no, that's true.
Because
I
if
I think
Gollum's
they just
Gollum
kind of stand there
and like
kind
Andy Serkis is kind of stood there, like he's saying the lines.
yeah. I imagine not. I imagine it's just like some real, a lot of like talking to people and a lot of felt and not really like not really remembering anyone's names. I feel I was kind of sad for Andy Serkis thinking about those films. It must have been quite lonely for him. Everyone else is on an adventure and he's just hanging out in like CGI caverns and stuff.
He was having a great time.
Yeah, I
He was
mean,
pioneering the film
half
industry
of
at
them
that
was
point.
having a great time.
Speaking of, that's a segue into kind of a
Okay.
little bit maybe
Okay.
into
Oh, no, I did it.
what we're actually. I just looked at you again.
I know. It's not great.
What are we doing? Yeah, this is actually a whole new show. That's not a show. That's a real show that we're calling the Film Club
Yeah.
because we wanted to make a community of people in this time, and also just in general because we love films. We love talking about films.
Mhm.
We were talking about Mandy last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great idea.
But the thing, like, we used to have a tripod, a tripod. We used to have a podcast back in the day called Tripod Talk, and we used to
Mhm.
love talking about films. So we thought, as we talked about Mandy, it kind of brought back those vibes. So we wanted to
Yeah.
give it a go again, and that kind of spiraled off into a whole different thing.
Yeah, more so going long. We just used to go on like these like more kind of long rambly discussions, and it was just everything's been a bit more kind of focused than recently. But we just thought we'd go back to a bit more of a kind of general discussion, kind of jumping about with different little games and stuff, just to help you move about topics in an interesting kind of way.
Yeah. So I'm Matt,
Oh yeah, we should have done this earlier. I'm Adele.
and we're here to talk about films and stuff. What are we talking about this week?
Okay, so well, we had a recommendation for this week, which was mine from last week. So the film we had to watch together.
I loved this film.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I'm glad you liked it. It's
Yeah.
called Blindspotting. It's on Netflix in the UK for free. It's about kind of a lot, but it's kind of based around two guys in Oakland in California and dealing with kind of gentrification and race issues and kind of the criminal justice system, and it's a lot going on, but it's saying all that, it's generally like genuinely kind of like a funny kind of interesting but really well directed and stuff film. But no, I've already seen it before, so I'll let Matt kind of talk about that one in a
Okay.
bit more detail.
Maybe not as much detail. I loved this film. It was great. I thought you got the vibe of what it was supposed to be straight away. Maybe I'm kind of being a bit more generous to it because I watched such a shit film last week. But I'm still gonna stick and say that I absolutely love this film. Like I got it. I got the tone. I got the character straight away. I love the bonds that they made. It's not one of those where everything's kind of laid off straight away. You just kind of find out little bits throughout the film that makes it more organic and more natural. And like there's a bit. We'll go into spoilers later, I guess. But there's this thing that the main character does, which also kind of goes in with the tone of the film. And then he kind of does it at the end in like kind of the big climax of the film. And because it was kind of done so well throughout the film, you don't feel as though you're taken out of it.
Hmm.
And then also, well, I suppose I'm going to say what it is.
Yeah, it's not
because
really a spoiler at all, I'd
yeah,
say. It's kind
like,
of a structural thing.
and I love rap and hip hop and freestyle and all that stuff anyway. To then kind of see that used as an emotional tool in a film that's not specifically Eminem and like kind of those rap battles and stuff, which is
Yeah.
kind of a staple of those kind of films anyway. Like, it was just nice to kind of see something and feel it rather than kind of like, it felt really natural and really like you were there and you felt everything that the character was going through. I just loved it. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of I read a bit afterwards about the two kind of main guys who did it, David Diggs and Raphael Casal. Raphael Casal, they both actually kind of met in their teens in that area doing slam poetry. They call it heightened language, and kind of rather than rap or anything, they could describe it as verse. It's kind of a Shakespearean thing. There's a Shakespearean kind of storyline to this whole
Wait, sorry,
film.
so they actually know each other before this?
Well, it's interesting. The whole story is that a producer called Jess Wu Calver she found Raphael just on a YouTube bender because he did a lot of kind of videos when he was very young for Def Jam Poetry, and she was already kind of working on the film, and she put him in touch with David Diggs, who was kind of already attached, and then they just kind of like they joke about they kind of let everyone think they were pushing them towards it, but in fact they'd wanted to do this forever.
Nice.
But it was just kind of a weird kind of like fate thing that they also kind of knew each other. They both had the kind of flow thing in mind, and David had just kind of it's been a film they wrote over like 9 years.
Plus, because he kind of gets to do it as well.
Yep, they both definitely do.
Yeah.
It's another one as well that something that jumped out at me as well was when I found an article which is the top kind of hilarious quotes type thing, and just reading through them, like I wouldn't recommend reading it till after the film, and I'm not going to read any of them out obviously because that'd be stupid, but they're such kind of off the cuff, very odd, like you don't really get a lot of the humor in this film kind of hits you unexpectedly, and I think that's kind of part of why it's so effective overall, is that it's not, when it kind of would be close to delving into being preachy, it kind of hits you unexpectedly. It's all kind of very craftily directed and structured and stuff to play on these themes without doing it in the same kind of way that we've all felt films do a million times and kind of don't really respond to anymore.
Yeah, that was the thing that I kind of took away the most, I guess, that it was like, it felt real, but it also felt fresh. And there's not many films, like, I suppose...
Fuck Alfred Hitchcock. Sorry. Had to get that one in. Go on.
It's just like Mandy kind of comparing last week, and it's like, I suppose it was fresh, because it was something new and something I hadn't really seen been done before, but at the same time it was still complete wank.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
So it's nice to see something I actually resonated with and emotionally kind of got involved with and kind of felt and understood what the characters were going through, and just kind of seeing it come off in this nicely polished, I suppose maybe like a love letter to the area, because Oakland is mentioned a lot in it,
big
and it's
theme.
Yeah, it's a big theme, and it kind of I think it encapsulates it really well. But yeah, much praise.
Yeah, interestingly as well, do you know face phasing, that line? This isn't a spoiler. This is just a bit of trivia that isn't going to bother anyone who hasn't seen it, but might be kind of interesting to anyone who has. There's a line in the film face phasing, which is kind of repeated a few times. Someone tweeted at them, I wonder how close they were to naming the movie Face Phasing. And then David Diggs replied, I literally fought for that every day, and I was solidly outvoted every day. And that's why you have to make sure your collaborators are smarter than you. And then Raphael Casal said the face phasing line is only in the script once. Diggs said it 8 more times in that take to make sure it was repeated heavily. He was trying to sway us in making it with the character. So it's just a little random funny aside that I thought anyone who'd kind of watch the film would appreciate with that kind of read as well.
Also, the name of the film is in the film. We're
going
to do a series of
we
that at some point.
That's one of our favourite things.
Though, you noticed as well, it wasn't actually the main character who said the name of the film.
Which is an interesting aside.
Very rare thing to happen.
Possibly, yeah. It'd be cool to go into that. We'll have to do like an in-depth study.
The only thing I can think of is like Independence Day.
If only had a dissertation.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Somebody in this room has a dissertation.
I just
on
looked
films.
across. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Just did a law degree. Cop out.
But yeah, if no one watched it, give it a watch. I thoroughly recommend it. Do you want to do your recommendation at the end so
Yeah.
people can stick around for that? Sorry, I'm looking at
It's
you.
your recommendation, and I just looked at you for like 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It's your recommendation
Oh,
because
it's my
mine was last
recommendation.
week. It's my hot
It
take.
was that good of a recommendation. I was like, yeah, just take it away.
Yeah.
Go.
No, we alternate little kind of features, and one of them's the recommendation, and we'll do a hot take kind of little thing as well, which kind of might relate to our main film
What's your
treatment
hot
scenario.
take this week?
It is my hot take,
Oh,
yeah.
thank God.
Yeah, no, Matt's panicking over there thinking he hasn't done anything. This happens every podcast, Matt.
I know. But I'm actually prepared for this one. For the
Okay.
first take.
I know.
It took us 5
I know,
episodes
I'm
to get in.
actually
I
prepared
actually
for this
got all my notes ready.
I've got notes and stuff. I'm ready to kill it. My hot take is a crazy one, but do you want to go into some film news before we do that?
Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go second, you know. You can go first.
Oh, shit. I was
I'm gonna
not expecting
respond.
that curveball. Right,
know.
okay. First thing, I was actually happy about this one. Taika Waititi is going to be directing a new Star Wars film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't read that much into it. I just because we were talking about it before,
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, "Yep, that's fine." I didn't actually see into any specifics about it, so I don't know what it's to do with. Then again, I think it's actually quite vague. But Taika Waititi at the helm of a Star Wars film is great news. Even
Yeah.
before he did some work on The Mandalorian, specifically the final episode of that series, which we binge watched together,
Yep.
and was great. It was,
It's pretty good.
I'm trying not to swear. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it, and yeah, that's I'm very happy with that. Can't go wrong with that. I don't
Yeah.
think.
It's part of the kind of general trend. I think they're doing the right thing was just get talented filmmakers and kind of let them see what they can make. Like I know The Last Jedi was publicly kind of, you know, debatable, but I think it was a good film, and I think that's still the right direction. I'm glad they're sticking to it.
Yeah, because I was telling you the other day, like I rewatched it again, and I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is.
I always kind of liked it. But
I like the
That's the
smaller, like the smaller aspect to the story. Like it's just kind of following a few things rather than I like. If I was gonna rank the trilogy, it'd definitely be 7, 8, 9, and 7 and 8 are quite up there, and then 9 just kind of fell flat for me. Like it was. You watched it for the first time with me.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I kind of thought what thought about most of them, which is kind of I was saying to you afterwards. It sounds super kind of arrogant and like intellect, like you know whatever.
No.
But I just kind of see them all as like kind of kids films, and like I thought that was more blatant and had less for it, kind of an adult, and it just kind of was slightly disappointing in that. It's again when you've seen enough films and you're like when they linger on a shot or when they give you a certain piece of like seemingly unnecessary information, it's just everything. When you watch it, you're just immediately like, okay, well that's gonna come back probably in this way. That's gonna come back probably in this way, and it felt like a really kind of average one of those. I like Rey and I like Kylo Ren, and I think those two probably more than the actors and the characters because I still don't think they've been developed much more than they were kind of from the first time you already met them in that first one because you worked out you knew their motivations, you had the dad stuff with him, and they've just kind of played on those in a good way. But you know, I like their model. I think it's interesting the way they're doing it, and kind of the whole Disney thing is a larger discussion. But I'm down to definitely give anything Taika Waititi gives a try, and if
Hell
they keep
yeah.
like hiring that kind of way, act like I like Pedro Pascal, I like the way they cast that. Then you know, I'm down. We'll see what they're doing. Definitely prefer it to Marvel, so I'll go with that. But no, that was a kind of good bit of news too. It was nice, just a bit of affirming news. I've tried to avoid all the kind of depressing, most of the kind of cinema industry type news and stuff anyway, so I thought I'd start with a fun one.
Okay, yeah, I've got one depressing one.
I've tried to avoid. So my fun one is, you know the Bill and Ted sequel, Bill and Ted Face
Yes.
the Music? So the directors announced on Twitter that there is or the writer I should say, there's a chance for fans to be in the film. But what they've got to do to get this contest is just to send a video of them, their friends, or their pets rocking out is the term. You have to be with an instrument. It can be an air guitar, whatever. But the deadline for that's May the 20th.
We should send them the lockdown
I was
video.
going to say. So we're going to, you know, we'll probably end up applying because Bill and fucking Ted. So, you know, anyone else out there, go for it.
Hell yeah.
Join the fun.
Okay.
Your go.
My go. Okay, I've got some. Tom Cruise is officially trying to kill himself even more.
What? Oh no, good. Okay, yeah, we've got the same bit of news. I thought I missed something about Tom Cruise huge there, and I was like, wait, what?
Is this about him wanting to shoot a movie in space?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yep, the first ever movie shot in space.
I think he could do it. He's a crazy
he's
son
gonna
of
do
a
it,
gun.
and he's got crazy Elon Musk there with his ridiculous kid name.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
I'm not
that.
getting into that. That's not
No.
film news. That's
I
just
feel bad for the
state of
kid.
mankind news.
Sorry, dude.
I definitely don't feel bad for the kid. They know how much money those parents have got. There's kids without food. Kid's fine.
Well, so if you were like a billionaire, like an heir to
You
the
could
throne,
call me like
what?
liquid fart, and if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't give a shit.
All right, fair enough. That answers that question.
Yeah, no one wanted to know.
You want to
But-
give me some more news?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And next bit of news. Well, okay. This is kind of interesting. It's some Nicolas Cage news. He's become like a running theme in our
Oh
series.
yeah, sorry.
So even though I'm kind of obviously I'm not going to disparage him, but I'm very confused. I'm confused over a career. And I definitely don't get the whole like super obsessive nature some people get with him. But he's going to star in a scripted series centered on Joe Exotic, who was in the Netflix docuseries Tiger King.
He is gonna absolutely nail it.
Yeah, it's going to be 8 episodes. What I thought was interesting, though, was the article it's based on was optioned in June of 2019 by CBS.
Really?
So obviously this guy has been around. You get, you see the kind of
Oh
footage
yeah,
of
Joe
him in the
Exotic's
story.
been around for like 10, 15 years.
But
at
as in,
least,
like to that element, and it just all popped with that kind of. It's interesting the way documentary series now are kind of taking on this.
like
this kind of
specifically
role.
the Netflix documentary as well.
Yeah, and the way people can go mental. Like they pretty much. I've had no track of days of the week during this. I barely know, but I know when it's Sunday because of the Michael Jordan documentary, and like I know the next couple of days is going to be like people reacting to that, and it's like the only thing that's structuring people's kind of weeks is random content dropping.
Would you like my happier news or my sadder news?
We'll go with sadder news.
Sadder news,
first.
okay. Well, just like every other film that's been pushed back, specifically John Wick 4 has been pushed back to 2022,
Painful.
which makes me very sad because I love John Wick films. I think they're fantastic.
Okay.
So much violence.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And now we have to wait an extra year for it, which is understandable because of everything's going on.
Yeah.
But, I was hoping that was what the one, the Keanu Reeves would be able to make that happen, but obviously we can't. So, never mind.
Kind of going on an opposite note to that, actually, because I started out reading about the creative team, the writers who wrote A Quiet Place, Scott Beck and Brian Woods.
Oh, yeah.
They were teaming up with Sam Raimi. They're going to do an original sci-fi film. They had a quote where they said they felt they had a responsibility to reinvest back into the ecosystem of original ideas, which I think is a really interesting thing. And I kind of agree, actually, that there should be some sense of responsibility to people out there with that kind of sway to be going for original stuff when the kind of easy option seems to be just go direct to franchise.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that.
Below that whole sideline, that kind of took me on to, I said Sam Raimi's, what he's currently doing is something called 50 States of Fright, and that's on something called Quibi. Have you ever heard of this before?
Quibi?
No, see, this is crazy. So this is kind of a long thing that we need to talk about, but basically it's a mobile-centric streaming platform devoted to short-form programming. So it's based entirely. You can only get it in the App Store. They've just spent over $1 million on content and over $1 billion, in content in their first year.
Damn.
They're going to split into 3 different things. There's going to be marquee scripted titles, which are basically films. So they're doing one with Liam Hemsworth and Christoph Waltz called Most Dangerous Games, and they're calling those movies in chapters. So there would be kind of 2 to 2.5 hours a season and 12 to 14 daily episodes, and then a new one kind of every couple of weeks. Then some unscripted shows with like Jennifer Lopez and Chrissy Teigen, and then daily essentials, kind of news and entertainment with like E and BBC and NBC and everything. But it's an entirely new kind of video platform which I hadn't heard of. But it's an interesting business model. They're very much pushing the kind of the 18 to 44.
It sounds like Netflix meets YouTube.
A little bit. Because again, they said they're going to roll out 7,000 pieces of content. They're going to do those kind of 3 different strands of it. It's kind of one of those pay services where you can pay like a $5 a month and just get some advertising and no ads is $8 a month.
Okay.
But it's the model being entirely based on use it on your phones. They're going to get into some interactive stuff.
Oh, purely phone can't go on a laptop sort of thing.
They said there won't be an official do it. You might be, you can cast from your phone if anyone else can, but they're not going to do it on their app. They said
that feels like a massive disadvantage.
it's deliberate. They're saying like we don't want to do a version where it's optimized for non-mobile screens. No one's done. Again, it seems like a bit of an entrepreneurial type talking thing to me, where they just want to push something specifically because no one's done it. But it's in a kind of an interesting different angle, and they're entirely aimed pretty much at us, the 25 to 35 millennial type person. There's not going to be any real kid stuff.
See, I say, like, give it 6 months of it being moderately successful, and then they'll just go back on that and be like, yep, put it on laptop, try and push it to everyone.
No, I wouldn't make sense to me to do that anyway, but it's just an interesting angle to see that, like, there are these new directions coming into the market that feels fairly, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu heavy.
It's nice to kind of hear something that's kind of more original, that's going to be in line with the competition.
Yeah.
Because everyone seems to be kind of like, it's more the Netflix, it's the juggernaut now, and then Apple are trying to get involved, and Sony is like, oh.
Yeah, it's also kind of funny to me that there's this whole one side of the cinema debate is the kind of pure cinephile argument of like, we're not people who don't even like digital and are like watch on 70 millimeter, and just the idea of watching a film on their phone would be disgusting to them. On the other hand, this is content like specifically.
This is outrageous.
Sorry. They're spending $100,000 a minute on making some of this stuff at the top end, and it's just to be seen on a phone. Yeah, it's a kind of.
Well, I suppose phones are getting bigger these days.
That's true.
It's kind of like watching it on a tablet.
But yeah, like Sam Raimi's doing a series for them. They've got all these people. It's interesting. Kind of. It's one of those like, what's the landscape going to be like in 20, 30 years? Like now, like is this going to feel like a kind of dividing line where before and after QB, before and after everything was phone based? So yeah, it's interesting. That was kind of my more rambly film news one for the day.
That's all right. Mine kind of goes well into that in terms of changing the landscape. And the Oscars, due to the pandemic, have made direct-to-video stream films available for contention for Academy Awards.
I saw about this.
Yeah, so that kind of opens the market a lot to kind of what's considered Oscar-worthy and not, because there were kind of nods to it kind of happening and kind of getting involved over the last year or so, but now that it's official, like this, that they're not going to go back on it, I don't think.
Yeah.
So this kind of makes Hollywood a lot more interesting now when it opens back up for business.
I was actually looking into this earlier, and or kind of separately for something recently. I can't even remember what. And I was reading about. So obviously the criteria that the Academy have is stuff like it has to run a certain number of showings in a California theater for a certain number of times. This is what they were kind of pushing back and forth with Netflix about mostly last year. So what Netflix then kind of went and did is buy the what's it called? I think it's the Chinese theater, but they bought the
the one in LA.
Yeah, they bought the theater which held the first ever premiere in Hollywood, and it just kind of like, yeah, that deals with our problem. They can just show it in their own theater, which I thought was a kind of pretty like awesome response to the kind of Oscars pushing back at them.
Yeah.
But then again, Netflix were the media company with the most nominations last year. They had got 24. I think second was 23, and then there was someone in 20, kind of Sony. So it's clearly we're in a kind of another stage now where they're kind of more than credible. They're kind of like industry leaders just with the way they put talent together, and kind of I'm hoping it's kind of a chuck money, don't really get in their way type way of management.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm always kind of pushing for when it comes to how to kind of, the purer the vision, usually the kind of purer the product, especially when it comes to films.
And meth.
And meth, yeah, that's true. We've this speaks side business. We'll do a plug in the ad break. What meth?
We do a great home delivery service.
Oh yeah, that's great. Drivers always have all their teeth. That's what makes us different. I don't know how many meth jokes I can do, but do you want to move on before I get carried away?
Quickly before you are myth taken.
Very nice,
Cool.
very nice. I shouldn't have looked to you, but I had to give you credit.
It's alright. So we've got a scenario lined up. I know we're going to talk about something else. Are we going to talk about something else first?
I don't think so.
Your hot take, sir.
Oh God, yeah, of course. I remember that, and I believe very strongly in this hot take that I'm very invested in.
Oh, like seriously or sarcastically?
Nah, kind of.
Okay.
We'll see.
Is it more to piss me off?
It's more just to just be a bit of a troll, I think.
Okay.
But I think I can argue for it.
Go on then.
Okay. So I've kind of tried to make my hot takes related to the scenario we've been doing. So I'm
Okay.
gonna kind of spoil the scenario, I guess, but it's gonna be in the title, so it's
Yeah,
not
it's
really
gonna be in the
spoiled.
title. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So
Or
this.
maybe you don't know because it's kind of vague.
Yeah,
Actually.
exactly. Yeah. Well, basically, each week we kind of either recast or kind of replace characters in different films based on pun name scenarios, which we come up with. So the pun for this one was "Paper Beats Rock." So it's basically just recasting Dwayne Johnson in every film he's been in. So my hot take coming off of that, I was trying to come up with a Dwayne Johnson related hot take. Kind of bear with me with this one because you got to let me kind of get through it. So
Right.
my
Okay.
hot take is that the Tooth Fairy is Dwayne Johnson's best work in Hollywood. Okay.
You need to get out.
No, wait. I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna explain it. Give me a chance. So part of my case for this, we've got to kind of appreciate that The Rock can't act. He kind of gets by on like you super likable, right? It's charisma. You kind of he can deliver a line, but what makes The Rock good is that you love The Rock. Everyone loves The Rock. So what he kind of was doing in those early films is back when he was actually trying to act, he didn't just learn that he could just stand there oiled and kind of, just kind of
Did you
deliver
not see the Scorpion King?
deliver wisecracks. Scorpion King, exactly. Again, he was trying in that, so I would give him credit for that. I've lost it. I wish I hadn't lost my notes. More my point. That film had some emotional depth. It had some comedy to it. I think it's one of those films that certain films like Space Jam and random like Rocky 3 for us become like really get a kind of close place in a person's heart because of the age you see it as and stuff. And I think there's probably a lot of kids out there older than us, but um, that this kind of film might hold that kind of a place in their heart for him. Also, I really like the rest of his cast. Like Stephen Merchant and Seth MacFarlane are both in it. Julie Andrews is in it. Stephen Merchant he later worked with in Fighting with Your Family, which I appreciate. I need to watch because it's well reviewed and he might actually be.
I
better
forgot
in
about that film. Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
film.
that film might invalidate this whole argument, but
To be
also,
fair, he was in it for like
yeah, I think
2 minutes.
yeah, it's not
so-
really about him. It's also got Ryan Sheckler in it. That was another good point. Thanks for bringing up the 2 minutes because I was also went on to a kind of separate thing about if you actually think about it, other than your kind of San Andreas skyscraper type stuff, The Rock's kind of moved in is to me is kind of emblematic of a different direction and kind of movie star, where it's not about being the kind of lead in difficult, like kind of awards baity type roles and kind of how can kind of lead a film. It's you put yourself in an ensemble or you put yourself in kind of like a fun little side role and you prop up other people or you go with the kind of production angle with the Brad Pitt way of thinking, where you take a supporting role so you can be in the trailer, so you can sell the film, but kind of don't actually look for those leading roles yourself. So I just think The Rock, that kind of was a side point that I just think it's an interesting second direction of like, we're in a totally new era of movie star that we've never really been in before, where the credibility isn't in what a leading performance. It's in a kind of box office mindset and how many like Instagram follows do you have? How well do you do in a talk show? These other kind of factors. But my original point back to that is just I think the Tooth Fairy he was trying hard. It's kind of sweet. There's a lot of kind of levels of reality in that film, and even if it's not great, you can still get the sense that like I haven't watched this in about 15 years. So I'm talking out my absolute arse. But I just think he really did kind of commit to that, and that was kind of applaudable, and it's in a way that's kind of believable to kids. Whereas now, like I don't think he's ever done a performance since where it's like trying to be believable in any real sense, other than kind of within that movie's little Jumanji universe. So yeah, it's a kind of convoluted, mixed up take, but I think I'm kind of more just trying to hit at different themes underlying it with kind of what's involved with being the biggest movie star in Hollywood now and kind of what's no longer in the criteria that would have, has been since moving pictures began, which is being able to act.
Right. I'll agree. It's a good film. I don't think it's his best.
What do you think he's been better in since?
Since Pain and Gain.
I don't even think that's really a role though.
Yeah, it is. Moana.
I haven't seen it. I can't really speak to that one. It's also animated, which is kind of a cheat because again, it's just the voice being the personality. Again, I haven't seen it, so maybe he's got some kind of emotional depth in Moana, but
Yeah, like you believe him to be the character. I'd say any. Well, I can't say some of them. Like, I mean, he has a great role in Fast and
I knew you were
Furious
going to say that,
franchise.
and that just proves that's what he's most known for, and that's just him being,
He is definitely not most known for that.
I mean, like, kind of in film, that's kind of like what people
I'd
think of when
say
they
that
think
he's
of The
probably
Rock.
more known for Jumanji now.
Maybe with kids, but I still think when a wider audience of people first think of The Rock, it's kind of him in a lot, like him opposite Vin Diesel almost.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's a
we'll
major
talk
link,
about
and
him
that's
later.
that's just a deliver wisecracks kind of look big role, which he's great at. But
Plus, he's big in. He's got that series called Ballers.
yeah,
That's really big over in
but I
America.
don't
It's
think
not really taken over
I
here.
think he more kind of cameos in that. Like I think he's more of a producer. I'm not sure that he's like
I know he's definitely starred in it.
very much the lead of it. I mean, it's clear here that we both haven't seen enough Rock stuff to do it, but I'm not hearing anything that's gonna like. And again, it's kind of one of those takes I don't fully believe, but I still like. I've not heard anything that kind of fully is like, oh my god, he was amazing in that. That's kind of undermined my point.
Well, I don't think he's that kind of actor.
Or good in that.
Like for me, I'd say instead of the Tooth Fairy, where it's you're kind of younger and you kind of see that film back at that age and you kind of resonate with the character and seeing them as that person in that film.
Yeah.
For me, that role would probably be Race to Witch Mountain, another Disney film starring Anastasia Robb, who's the girl in Bridge to Terabithia,
Yeah.
and the mean kid from Hunger Games.
Yeah, it was weird he had that era of his career where he was going to be like a kids film star.
Yeah.
Because he's just, again, it's that kind of cuddly charisma thing he's got, but then he just worked out how to, do it with a gun in his hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair, that's where cause that's actually really handy kind of doing this because we've just railed off a bunch of films, Moana and stuff like that, and I think that's just going to make it funnier to now plug him into the scenario where we're talking about putting a different actor in to replace him in all of the films he's been in the past, which are films like Scorpion King, his Fast and Furious role.
That sounds like a great segue. Is that a segue?
That was a segue. Yeah. That was an absolutely flawless segue. So smooth, silky smooth segues.
Right. Okay.
That's what I'm known for.
So yeah, our situation. We're gonna put some potential actors in the roles the Dwayne the Rock Johnson has played, and see if we can make it either better or worse. Would you like the first hand or would you like the second hand?
I don't mind. I picked last time. You'll go.
Okay, I'll go first. There's only a few people I think who kind of do it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, probably not even really well, just enough to kind of satisfy the roles of the thing. Because we've already discussed, he's not amazing in films. Like, he plays the part that he's supposed to play, and he's a lovable guy that people want to watch. If anything screams movie star, it's probably that. Not like an actor's, like movie star is in like the actual
like
kind of the
box
selling
office
point. Yeah, the box
element of it.
office and like
that's what he is.
the popularity and stuff. And the first person I can think of who's kind of coming up into that same role now is John Cena.
Okay, I see that.
Similar sort of acting chops. He kind of comes from the pro wrestling background. He's starting to hit Hollywood a lot better. I think he's doing a lot better than The Rock when The Rock first started out, so he could possibly go even bigger. I mean, it's debatable.
Yeah, he's had the trail blazed for him.
But I think he's a better actor than The Rock.
He was pretty good in Trainwreck. Sorry, I liked him in that film.
Yeah,
funny.
plus a couple of other handful, like 12 Rounds, The Marine.
Yeah.
What else was he in recently? Blockers. He was pretty good in that. Like, he's got great comedic timing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'd be my first pick, putting him in those films.
Yeah. See, I didn't go in the direction. I kind of knew you'd take the wrestler kind of, let's go with the physical element side. So I've gone kind of a fair few kind of, like I always do, kind of wild card picks. But my thinking of what his role is in every film is basically kind of a variation on kind of, always intimidation is involved, just size, usually physical, but I thought I'd play with that idea. And then also kind of some wisecracking or some, being kind of the sheer scary side of it.
Okay.
But I was kind of thinking, who I thought could do the intimidation in a different way, but probably more realistically terrifying. A man who's portrayed serial killers multiple times in his career, Michael Shannon, would be fucking
Oh.
mint in all of the Rock's roles. I think for one, not
Okay.
relying on the size, but just I think in terms of sheer like
Craziness.
scary presence, he blows the Rock out the water.
Oh.
I think him the idea of him being the wisecracking dude makes me so happy. Like, because he's such a like
You would pay
unashamedly
to see
weird
that.
guy that if he was the guy in the group who was kind of throwing out the barbs and kind of like, oh, it just makes me so happy. The Michael Shannon being the leader of the crew in Jumanji. Oh, I'd pay so much money.
I've got one further down the line for that, which I hope you're really going to enjoy.
Okay, good.
It's
good,
not a
good.
serious one though. So yes, you were absolutely right. I'm kind of coming up with the whole pro wrestling thing, and that kind of physical build. And for me, the next logical person for that would be Dave Bautista, who's most known as Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, he's
Good
kind of
Blade Runner cameo.
it's what, sorry.
Not to jump in, good Blade Runner cameo as well
Ah,
with
still
his
not
mini
seen that.
glasses. He's got little glasses. It's hilarious. Anyway,
But yeah, like similar sort of build, and again, comedic timing and stuff. He can still play the interrogating sort of imposing figure. He's kind of coming more into his own with his own leading role stuff. So yeah, I think he'd be another suitable role to kind of I can see him in the Tooth Fairy.
I think he'd be better than from what I've seen of him. I actually rate him as an actor, having seen him in Blade Runner and some other kind of stuff. So, and I like the decisions he's making more. He seems to be more of a kind of. He did Stuber with Kumail Nanjiani, but he seems to be in more of a kind of. He seems to be more of a kind of an intellectually interested kind of guy, just to try to learn the actual kind of craft of it more. Like he's very down with kind of just getting better. So with that kind of mindset, I think he'll go all the kind of way. He's more. I would be very happy to see the Rock part be his.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like him a lot. Sticking in the kind of opposite direction then. So you've gone with I've gone with a kind of nice like little 5'8" German. I wanted Christoph Waltz to play every Rock role. So we're losing physical intimidation pretty much entirely. I appreciate.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm taking
Glorious Bastards.
Well, I'm taking Menace. That's what Christoph Waltz is. That's Inglourious Bastards, and also the kind of. It's that he's smarter than you. He knows more than you that he has. There's always that element to him where you just like. That's why he works as a Bond villain, because you don't feel like he's going to tell you all the plans, or he should have worked. But I just think it's funny to imagine him first off.
Just imagine him in Skyscraper.
Yeah.
With one leg.
Well, also, I worry when I just put actual actors in the role. And I also just think all the fights, like, imagine him, chucking Vin Diesel through concrete and doing, like, wrestling moves and stuff like that. Like, so much more watchable. So, Christoph Waltz is my second replace Dwayne Johnson pick.
Okay. I've got a third, which is a throwaway one, just because. Do they like each other? We don't know.
No, they
It's
don't.
Vin Diesel.
No. They definitely don't like each other.
Again, similar looking.
La Familia. Vin Diesel
he's kind of got the voice for it in other roles. Like he also has the same sort of ability to kind of switch it up and be comedic, like him in The Pacifier, which I thought he was great in that sort of role. So I can see Vin Diesel also doing Moana and
That's true.
other kind of Disney films and stuff, kind of starting out as he did, but also still taking the lead role in. Like I think I probably prefer to see Vin Diesel in stuff like Skyscraper and San Andreas rather than him in Riddick and that kind of stuff. I feel like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just not my kind of film, but that kind of hyper exaggerated sort of thing. And I know San Andreas is. I'm not saying that I like those films either. I think they're somewhat bags of shit, but
Yeah.
I could see Vin Diesel making more of a career from doing that than the other stuff, which is kind of what Dwayne does anyway. So yeah, Vin Diesel.
How many more names do you have? Because I've got a couple, but I'm not.
I've got 3 more, but one of them is my.
Okay, so I've got a definitive one. I'll give you one more of my. I'll give you a quick one.
Okay.
Which is, again, I was thinking about this and I was like, am I going to bring. There's 2 guys that I feel like I seem to want to bring up every week, so I'm just going to rattle them off together.
Nicolas Cage.
No, he was first on the list. I deleted him because I knew we talked about him already. And my two people, one of them, the first one seemed to be Michael Cera. Because
that was my end one. Damn it.
Your actual pick?
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you talk about it then. Jump in.
No, it's literally just imagine him in all the roles that Dwayne The Rock Johnson has. It'd be fantastic. Just trying to see him be that smoldering leader in Jumanji, or him trying to race along Vin Diesel, trying to catch him doing bad stuff. Whatever.
That was a really you've seen the films. You just made it sound
I've
like
seen
you didn't.
a couple of them. I'm not invested in Fast and Furious films.
Better franchise than all the Marvel stuff.
Nah, that is complete
Fast and
bollocks.
Good shit. It's like shitting on Marvel in front of Matt triggers him. But no, sorry for stealing your pick. I didn't.
No,
mean to do that.
on it, I'm glad we had the same thought, just because
He'd be great. He'd be
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah.
The other one is the guy. I think I mentioned him another week, and you didn't recognize the name. Jonathan Tucker was a quick one. So
I still don't
he's
recognize the name. I
in-
remember you saying the name, but now I don't remember.
He was in a lot of stuff. He was in Justified for a while, Hannibal, Westworld now. I was about to turn my laptop to show you, but obviously we can't do that. But no, he kind of got
Oh wait,
in,
I can look it up while you talk.
yeah, he got in great shape for a really good MMA family-based TV show called Kingdom, and so I think he does have the kind of physical. He can play crazy very easily,
What's
like he
his name
did kind
again,
of
sorry?
Hannibal. Jonathan Tucker.
Jonathan.
And again, I feel like he's one of those dudes who just needs that career break. Like, I don't know whether maybe it's sometimes there's something like a little bit off. I don't know. You can't really explain it, but they don't quite click as a star. But Jonathan Tucker's someone I've felt like was gonna become big in, a little bit like Billy Crudup, who just does great work, but for some reason the name never transcends into common usage. But I'm always rooting for Jonathan Tucker, so I seem to want to give him a shout out quite a lot. But I actually believe him as the comedy side, the scary side, full on intimidation, and also crazy. So I can see him. And he's also just kind of got one of those big, extravagant, kind of draws you up with him personalities.
I've thought of one just on the fly.
Hit me.
Anthony Mackie.
Ooh, I think he could see himself doing it. The one thing I like about Anthony Mackie is he's a little bit like an athlete in my mind, and I know he did play a lot of sports before, but there's something to be said for, like, to be a great athlete, you kind of have to believe you're the best. Like, you have to believe you're the best in the world to a stupid degree, like to and kind of unreasonable degree. And I think he's kind of got that. Like, whenever you see him in any kind of Avengers cast stuff, he's always kind of like the most loud, gregarious person, even though he's kind of like,
He's not in those films.
the ninth person anyone's there. More so when you see him with like Chris Evans and Tom Holland, and you see
Like in after.
like
stuff.
media
Yeah.
stuff. Sorry, when
Yeah.
you see him in media appearances, it's always kind of about him. He's always kind of the big personality on it. So I think he'd kind of love to just go big with these kind of roles. So yeah, I think it's nice to think. Sometimes it's rare you think about it from the actor's point of view before anything else, but I know he'd be keen.
Yeah. Okay, I've got two more left. How many names have you got?
I've got two, and one of them's my definitive one.
Okay.
And we're going with two women here, actually.
Two women?
Yep.
Oh,
I know.
damn, son.
One who.
I didn't even think about
Yep. I'm
Oh.
really happy with my last answer.
that.
I think she'd crush it, but no, you hit me first. I'll build attention that one.
Okay. Idris Elba.
Yep. Easy.
Yeah.
Better actor.
Big presence, much better actor, yeah, but he still has the charisma and the action background to swap out really well. Plus, kind of going from serious to comedy stuff. I think it'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Solid.
Okay, hit me with your woman.
All right. So my first one is Michelle Rodriguez, going from Fast and Furious.
Oh.
So I know she's kind of, again, she's small. Probably problematic is not seeing the films as well. But I'd probably say she's in two of the best 7 or 8 fight scenes across the entire series. She's in one of the Ronda Rousey. She's in a couple with Ronda Rousey, actually, that are really, really good. And Gina Carano. She kind of does...
Oh, yeah, Gina Carano was in Mandalorian.
Yeah, she does that intensity really, really well. And, I just think I think she also could kind of, like, lead a film, carry a film. She's got the kind of... She's tough enough that you're going to follow her in these scenarios. And I've never really seen her kind of go out there with a comedy, so I was already kind of in the Fast and Furious mind in my head, and I was just like, I wonder what Michelle Rodriguez would be like if you actually gave her a film.
Hench. That's what
She would be, yeah. I'm more scared of her than The Rock, I'll tell you that for free.
Tell you what, imagine a woman the size of The Rock.
Well, we'll get to that. That's actually a pretty great little teaser for my last one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go on, who's yours?
So my final one that I'd be more interested to see, like, seriously,
Mm-hmm.
is Tom Hardy.
Okay.
Just
with thinking Big Bane back, basically.
yeah. But I just love him as an actor anyway. I love his intensity. I love his like timing. I love his like eyes. He uses his eyes a lot. Yeah, I just think he'd have a lot of fun with the kind of roles that The Rock's done, but also kind of bring something different to the table. Yeah, I'd love Tom Hardy to kind of plus to kind of like to see Tom Hardy at the level that The Rock is at popularity wise now. I think the world would be a better place. Like genuinely.
I like that pick. Tom Hardy's amazing. He loves to act without his face. I don't know why. Just wants to cover up as much of his face as possible. Still need to rewatch Dunkirk just to appreciate that. But yeah, Tom Hardy's a great pick. All right, in doing my last one, actually, I've been doing some Googling. Do you know there's like a lot of controversy over The Rock's actual height? He said he's claimed to be 6'4" before. He's claimed to be 6'4.5" and 6'5". He's also said he's actually 5'9" as a joke. In actual fact, he's 6'2.5", according to this website that I've just found.
Makes a big
I know.
difference if
His peak is 6'3", so apparently he's lost half an inch at some point in his life.
He's getting older. I mean, he's 48, 49.
Also, my mum used to say to me, go to the gym too much when you're too young, you'll stunt your growth. So maybe it's just late reacting to him.
I mean, to be fair, he's had growth. He's had them gains for a long time.
I imagine he's taking some other stuff to help with the growth as well. So
yeah, because I was going to say he's never been as big as he is now.
Oh yeah, he's roided up the gills, but that's a separate point. My last name then is 6'3", though. That's where I was picking. Can you imagine it, by the way? I'm just trying. I'll give you a clue. So 6'3" lady, think Game of Thrones.
Oh, I was like, okay, I know who you're going with.
Gwendolyn Christie. Okay. This is actually a killer pick, and I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
So she trained in dance and gymnastics as a child. That's just a separate point. But again, the kind of he was an athlete. She's a kind of graceful person. So I can see her with the kind of, she can definitely do the action from the fight scenes. She got a first-class honours degree with a drama degree. Her first job was Great Expectations, the Royal Shakespeare Company. Like, she has all the acting chops you can get. She was their focus of a series of portraits because someone was just like, what is your face? This is amazing. And I think she's kind of eminently watchable. I think she can do the intimidation. I think she's very kind of likable. You see her in interviews and it's just like, The Rock's already, his role is like, he's kind of an alien. He's just a massive Hawaiian alien. So why can't it just be like a massive, posh British alien? So that's my thought. Gwendolyn Christie is my replace The Rock, and she's who I'd like. She'd kill it, no doubt.
Well, those are some interesting films that I'd watch.
I know. We've kind of jumped all over the shop with those, but I like what we've done. We've kind of done some keep the normal people happy.
I've got like a question for you, which is very on the spot. But out of all the people you've picked, what's the film you'd most like to see with any of the picks that you've got?
Okay, can I pick a series? I can't pick one film.
Yeah, specifically one. Unless it's part of a series, then you can change that person.
All right, I want. I'm thinking Michael Cera, and I'm thinking the Fast and Furious, where they work together, but also Vin Diesel and The Rock have a massive fight, and they like break up a warehouse. I think it might be 6 or 7. Whichever one that is.
Is that the one where they drag a safe across the road?
No, that's 5. That's the best one.
Okay.
6 or 7's in London when they've got some whole revenge stuff going on. It gets a little more tenuous storyline-wise. They somehow become like world-renowned spy operatives. Who knows? But and great hackers and stuff, even though they're just from the hood. But that would be hilarious to me. I was already debating Christoph Waltz in there because Christoph Waltz just playing a Fast and Furious role just covered in baby oil and like body armor is hilarious to me, but I think I've got to go Michael Cera.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm thinking Tom Hardy in Pain and Gain because I want to see him go absolutely nuts.
Oh my god, you want to see HGH Tom?
Yeah, plus like bouncing off Mark Wahlberg
and sorry, HGH. Anyway, continue.
Like bouncing off Wahlberg and Mackie in that film because like Johnson takes it to another level compared to those two in that like as that character.
Yeah,
so definitely. I'd love to see Hardy like try and even like kick it up even more than that.
Definitely.
So yeah, that'll be my pick.
Cool. Either way, that was a fun kind of go at it.
I
think, and they're all better films with any of our picks. Except maybe John Cena. But even Dave Bautista, I think, is a plus. But no, I do like The Rock. It sounds like I slag him off. This is what I do in everything we do recorded, though.
Yeah, I love The Rock. I think
always
he's
go
fantastic. He's
I always
great.
go controversial. Can't help it.
You're
Speaking
a
of-
bad bitch.
Well, to be fair, I didn't go controversial with my pick for this week, which was good. We liked it. Blindspotting.
Yeah.
Were you ready for another absolutely flawless segue?
That
I've
was
been
very
staring
good.
at you for too long now. I ruined it with the camera stuff. I was just looking for approval,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
forgot I meant to be staring at the webcam. But no, that can then be our segue into Matt. Boom.
Okay, so I've got I'm going to give you a choice of two things, and
I
I've
like it.
forgotten the second choice. So just give me a sec.
We'll start talking about the first, and it'll come to you.
Okay.
Put the pressure on.
Okay, so the first choice is Extraction,
Okay.
which is the new Chris Hemsworth film on Netflix, and apparently people are absolutely raving about it. I've seen the trailer, and I'm all in for it. So yeah, that'd be my first pick. I'm trying to think of the second one now, but it's genuinely gone, so I guess it's that one.
That's fine. We'll see what it's about. It's one of those things that we're gonna try and make sure it's more easily accessible films to people.
Oh yeah.
So at least this way, it's just popped on a like a streaming thing. Everyone can kind of watch it, and we can get the whole, get some feedback as well. Maybe get some people watching with us, and kind of we'll give you a bit more of a kind of rundown about it, like we did with Blindspotting this week.
Yeah, so share this with your friends because we want to make the film club an actual thing. I mean, we're
Quicker
still trying
we do prizes. We'll stop bribing. I'm not above bribing.
Yeah. Obviously, it's just us two for now. But if you want to join the conversation, please do. That's it for this week.
Yeah.
I think.
No.
Unless I can remember the other film. But
I'll
no,
do-
I'm happy with Extraction anyway. So.
Yeah, cool. We'll watch Extraction. That's fine.
Okay. You got anything else to say, Dale?
Nah, usual plug, socials, like, subscribe, rate, all that stuff. We're doing a lot more stuff on kind of Instagram and Twitter and stuff now, so if you could keep an eye out, that'd be great.
Yeah, we are down with the kids.
And we'll be kind of regularly uploading this kind of stuff, and we'll do the video version of the segment with the recasted actors, so you can just put a face to the name, and then kind of just in case any of the names don't ring a bell. But all of these are fairly well known this week.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, let us know what you think of the format. We'll kind of keep fiddling about with it, see how we can.
Sorry.
See how we can kind of get this really cracked down into a smooth operation. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how this looks first.
yeah, exactly. We've got no idea what
Hopefully
this
it
is
looks
gonna look.
alright, and
I've
then we'll
been
carry on doing
jumping
it.
up and down like an idiot the whole time, so we're gonna have a lot of that. But we'll see if that can be dealt with afterwards. Right, cool.
Okay, cool. I've been Matt.
I've been Dill.
This has been the Film Club. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Get watching films.
Do it.
Bye.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.